into this wild and wacky world that we go ahead and call the living world of darkness rage across New York. The scene is set. How most of these scenes are set in the dark of night, the dead, dead dark of night. Ooh, where secrets are told and revealed. Ooh, where I go ahead and do this really, really weird voice over and over again. But to go ahead and set the scene quite properly, we find ourselves in mostly the Stargazer's portion of the Sept of Green. Actually, we go ahead and set the scene with Garrett. Garrett, the Shadow Lord, who has been very, very insightful, very, very attentive, very, very aware of how things ought to be and how things are not actually. And so he's got questions and he wants answers, and he's doing his proper gumshoe work. He's doing the legwork, and he is approaching one of the log cabins that he actually approached in the beginning of his particular story when he first walked onto the Sept. And out in the background, there are two idiots currently running after each other, one in Hamid and one in Lupus. One going, "You'll never catch me!" And thus we begin our scene.
All right, well, Garrett, does the log cabin have windows there, Bob?
I imagine so. Like, the houses in Zanshu don't all have modern amenities, but I believe that the artisans who made them thought that perhaps natural light would be a great thing.
Okay. Well, that will be the first thing Garrett does, is to peek in the windows ever so stealthily to see who's inside, what's inside.
Olaf is inside. He's not really doing anything. He's just curled up in Lupus. He might be taking a nap, actually.
Well, that was easy. Garrett walks around to the front of the house.
One of Olaf's eyes snaps open. Oh boy. Alright, let's do this. Oh, that's right. Handles are a thing. And he takes a minute to actually go up to Hamid. And through the magic of my advanced sense of special effects, that goes pretty smoothly.
Beautiful dissolve.
Beautiful. And he actually opens the door. Oh, hey, what's up?
Long time no see.
Yeah, switched shifts.
That's it?
Pretty much took the 3 to 5 a.m. You're all welcome.
Garrett will look to the left, to the right, all around him, just to see if anybody's around. Even if he sees no one, he's
Catch me!
Oh shit! Can I please come in?
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
You've only got 2 legs. You can't run but so long.
Okay, Garrett will step inside and close the door, or prompt Olaf to quickly close the door.
Olaf closes the door. You know, I hope that she realizes that all she sounds like to him is a-roo-roo-roo, a-roo-roo, a-roo-roo-roo.
Yeah, I hung out with him last night. It was pretty interesting how that went.
I can only imagine so, though at least she's embracing her other half a bit. There isn't any like traditional furniture in here. There is a small pop-up cot that can't be comfortable with a pillow on it and some blankets. You can't tell whether or not the blankets are being used as padding or legitimate blankets. Some of them look like they were donated. Like maybe people in the neighborhood thought he didn't have enough blankets, just gave them to him. Otherwise, there are just random stacks of books They're not organized in any logical sense. And I mean, if you were to classify something as furniture, a lot of them are hardback. Could probably support a human body.
Yeah, she's under orders from the Den Father to get in touch with the wolf.
Katori Raya has a great well of wisdom. So much of my time as a cub was spent. You see, my family, big sticklers for doing things right, they had me hunt my own dinner on a nightly basis. So, if I wanted to eat that night, I was going to have to go out and catch something.
Yeah, Katori, I haven't met him yet, but he sounds all right from everything Maeve has told me.
He's a good man, very busy.
And seems to have a much better head on his shoulders than the other resident Theruj, Kachina.
Olaf shrugs, if only because he's had a handful of interactions with Kachina, one of which resulted in this weird orange uniform that's neatly folded off in the corner.
Yeah, I had a meeting with him. He didn't impress me much.
Over what?
Oh, he did something really stupid. Summoned some crazy, powerful spirit while Maeve was standing right there, and she ended up getting hurt.
So that's why I had to use a Gaia's breath. Good to know.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize quite the gravity of that decision, I feel.
Olaf shrugs his shoulders. You know the law.
There's a mild, muffled thump outside, followed by, "Stop going around corners so fast!"
I'm gonna ignore them for now. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, they're having fun.
So yeah, I noticed a particular absence of the Guardians and the Warder as of late, which is why I came to see if you were here.
Well, I'm around.
I heard you had something going on.
I did. It's been handled, at least as far as I can manage the situation.
And what about the Warder's situation? That your particular situation sprang off from, has that been handled?
Olaf quirks a brow. Now, who went and told you a thing like that?
I won't insult you by giving you an answer. I think you can figure it out.
Olaf thinks for a few moments, strokes his beard. It might be smaller now than it was in times past. Garrett never got to experience it in its full glory. But, well, if I were to be a guessing man, the most likely candidate would be someone very young and unversed.
Now, before you fly off the handle,
I'm listening.
that's all she told me.
Well, you know, I could be upset, I really could. But in this case, at least she did not march straight into the Sept Beta's mansion. One must count their blessings.
No, she was very careful in the way she approached it. And of course, she is dealing with me, so I pick up on things.
You do. Figured that out about you really quick.
Now, my main issue with this, regardless of how embarrassing the warder's current situation is, this sept has been without its warder for quite some days now. It's been me and Mikhail's Navy doing patrols.
There's some scuffling noises. Trees are cheating!
Barking up the wrong tree. Literally from 2 trees over.
Olaf puts his face in his palm. You know, of all the training methods, I grew up in a different place. Yes, I did.
You and me both.
You know, I was told that this place was the front lines. And in some regards, I've not been led astray. There are many dangers, and as far as the East Coast goes, I would say this is one of the more dangerous places. But coming from a sept that was all get, there were, how you say, certain cultural expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not speaking poorly of the matter, it's just different.
Oh, no doubt. The way I see it is, this sept will self-destruct far sooner than it's raided by spirals or any other minions of the worm.
You see, you've come upon a problem that has bothered me for quite some time. We're a big nation, Garrett. Many, many tribes. However, we carry a lot of history with each other. Believe you me, I know a thing or two about history. And, well, the Garo, the nation, its people have a long memory. All of its peoples have a long memory, and these long memories tend to bleed into disputes.
Those long memories stem from the constant reminders from the spirits, our beloved patrons, who descend upon this steppe, tear out the hearts of the warders, blast other warders in the face with lightning.
I'm taking this hat!
Potentially eat cubs, like that one out there.
Smack against the wall of the cabin. Yeah.
Oh, for the love of Pete. Ugh.
Now you know what I've had to deal with without anybody else.
Claws scuffle against the wall for a couple seconds, followed by some sort of muffled declaration of victory, immediately followed by more thundering around.
Grunt. This is actually all going to go ahead and culminate in front of the log cabin's front door, actually, as you just hear the Hamid grunting and Lupus snarling, probably fighting over something.
You know, even before I was a cub, my own mother spent time teaching me how to wield a sword. He gets up and opens the door. What is this ruckus?
You come upon the scene where you see Maeve in her Lupus form, grabbed onto one ear of Lucas's red hunting hat, and Lupus holding on for dear life with both hands on the other side. Looks at you. Oh, hey.
I found Olaf.
She'll maintain her kind of tugged position, feet braced and kind of shuffled back, but kind of looking at me like,
Maeve, how long have you been wearing the wolf shirt?
And of course, when she opens her mouth to answer him, the inevitable is going to take place. I was hoping he'd fall over. Damn his perfect balance. But yeah, she'll look up. Well, I had to take it off briefly to go out with Katori earlier today, but this is the second day.
And how many things have you hunted?
Hmm.
My patience.
Yep. I caught it too. And then I killed it. Arr, arr, arr. She'll compose herself a little more. Mostly fish. A rabbit. Katori taught me how to cut fish and to eat them without dying horribly.
You know, should probably take up fishing. It's a very calming activity.
There's a lot of big fish in there. I don't think many people think to actually go after them.
Probably, you see, hunting, you've been taught how to pray for your fallen prey, yes?
She bobs her head.
Good, 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 good. We don't have to have a talk about that then.
No, Katori and I already had to have a talk because Kailani took us hunting and didn't teach it to us.
Great, good, good, good. I suppose sometimes you catch things, sometimes you don't. I've had many nights like that.
Not.
Now, do you know what I like to use lupus for?
She shakes her head.
For one, there's something about the wolf. It sees into the heart of things. You can perceive things you normally can't perceive. I swear, and I won't state this for a fact, but I can feel it in my gut some days, that you can almost hear a person's heart as a lupus. Very, very interesting tool when you're trying to, say, find out if they're lying to you. Point being, a wolf sees to the truth of things because it has to. Do you know what else lupus is good for?
She'll shake her head again just because she wants him to keep going.
Well, I'm going to skip over the obvious things like living in the wild for extended periods of time without all the Hamid bothers and concerns and all of that. I tend to take lupus when I need to be very, very quiet. A wolf tracks its prey, stalks it for long periods of time, and if at any time these prey, many of whom could be stronger than the wolf or perhaps faster than the wolf under certain circumstances, detects them, that might be dinner running away. So the wolf shirt, very good for being quiet. What are you not being right now?
Wolf can, or Lucas can attest to that.
She'll wrinkle her nose a bit. Well, I wasn't practicing being quiet.
That much is obvious, maybe. Now, Garrett and I were trying to speak for just a minute. If you would give us some time, I'd happily welcome you into my cabin.
She'll glance
Right.
at Lucas.
Raya, Olaf, if you don't mind, we could just sit here on the porch or a little bit of ways if you want the privacy.
You know, I give you good points for asking between the distinction. I hadn't even thought of that. If you could just go continue your play quietly a little bit away, it won't be very long.
Can I perception empathy, Lucas?
No, go ahead and do so.
Dose.
All right, what are you trying to get at?
Basically, since Garrett kind of feels some sort of kinship with Lucas,
Mhm.
he's trying to just suss out if he was trying to listen in, basically.
Shit. You know that you feel that kind of kinship. You know for a fact that if Lucas had not explicitly said, "Do you want your privacy?" he would have sat on this fucking porch and just listened in. But because Olaf has looked out for him once or twice before, he's not willing to go ahead and break that trust quite yet.
Okay. That's good enough.
Lucas will go ahead and look to Maeve. Lopez and simply say, "Come on, I'll go ahead and teach you the constellations. How about that?"
And she'll bob her muzzle and trot off to follow him.
All right, and a much more quiet procession goes ahead and starts as Lucas goes ahead and points to the sky and starts, with Orion's belt and one of those very, very long scientific rants he's wont to go into.
Olaf closes the door and turns back to Garrett.
You were
Now
right.
you and oh, about
He-
what?
well,
I didn't catch that last bit.
oh, you were right. He is useful.
Indeed. Now you and I could dance around this and talk about all manner of theology for however many hours until the dawn comes, but I am more interested in the point you're trying to drive at.
Basically, what the hell is going on?
Matters have become muddled. Another one of those intertribal relations. I am trying to manage it.
Now, I can appreciate some discretion in sensitive matters, believe me. I know that more than anybody. But we just got a new warder. And it's been, I don't know, it hadn't even been 2 weeks. And she just disappears. And no official correspondence that I heard through her guardians or trusted soldiers and troops. Leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
This I can understand. In ancient times, soldiers would become rather uncertain if they didn't hear enough from those above them. It is a problem, to be sure.
Now, I'll give it to you on the straight and narrow. The little talk we had before, the one that didn't go so well. Not gonna lie, it put me down in the dumps for a little bit.
Truth is pain. Learning is painful, and life is learning.
Yeah. I get the sense you don't realize how dangerous you are.
At that, you almost catch like this hint of a smirk. I'm a get.
It goes beyond just the traditional Fenrir strength, that Norse spirit. It's much deeper than that. You have the uncanny ability to get people to trust you. I came to trust you so quickly, quicker than I've ever trusted anyone, that I told you something about me that I don't tell anyone. And in the flash of an eye, you became just like every other person who knew about me. You looked at me as a liability, as weak. So yeah, it hit me hard, and I've since doubled down on my efforts to be a proper guardian to this sept. So yes, I learned the lesson, and I thank you for that. And I'm here right now trying to find out where the fuck is our warder.
To be honest, not sure.
He kind of smacks his forehead. And it's even worse than I thought. You were there at the incident, I'm assuming, since you were taking care of some of the fallout from it. And not even you know, man.
Believe me, it would be almost easy for me to find out. I've been busy, both hands full.
I could really dig down and find her too, if I really wanted to. But I've been doing stuff here. Like you, I've had my other duties. And it's more of a principle of the matter, you know.
I'm aware.
And then there was that howl you put out that I heartily disagree with.
At the risk of breaching old terms of etiquette among our people, I would only say that I was given an order and I followed it.
Oh, I assume so. And I can only assume who that order was from. You're starting to connect the dots here.
Garrett,
Go ahead.
what you remember from that night is when I told you something you didn't want to hear. What you forgot is that the first thing I did is recognize your strengths. I am trying my best to look out for the people on the street level, the people that often get hit real damn hard when threats come up. You are wandering into something that you do not want to wander into. And that is not a threat from me. I am trying to look out for you here.
He kind of slowly forms a tooth-bearing smile. This is my duty. The warder's first mistake was making me guardian and letting me keep the position long enough to take it seriously.
Guys, do not just be two talking heads. Perform some actions.
With what furniture?
Thank you, Senpai. Olaf, for his part, he doesn't quite have his hands in his pockets, so his thumbs are hooked there. And where Garrett is smiling, Olaf can see the grim humor in the situation, given their crossed purposes. And so it's a closed lip kind of smile, but it's a lot more rueful.
And you say you're trying to protect me. Not everybody's as smart as me to suss out that you were doing that howl on orders. So I might be trying to protect you as well. Because as brutal as you were that night, as quickly as you turned on me, I can appreciate the fact that the entire sept isn't talking about it.
You asked me to let you approach it on your own terms. I laid out my caveats, but I agreed. I might be a lot of things, Garrett, but I'm a man of my word.
I know. And that's why I'm coming to you with this. The warder is no doubt a great warrior, but she's not a warder. Not from what I've seen. Garrett will shuffle over to the windows looking around because he's going to double check that, make sure Lucas isn't listening.
If you do go ahead and spy him, you'll spy actually a little lantern light, far bit of ways actually. You'll see, well, Lucas going ahead and I assume Maeve's just like laying down, right?
Oh yeah, she's all flopped out.
All right, on her back, because Lucas is on his back, pointing up at the sky.
And young
She
Lucas
will
respects
be
you as well.
alongside him.
Giving us our privacy.
I grew up kinfolk, knowing
did I.
every day that the war went on, ready to do what I had to do for it. And just for an instant, you might actually see a flash of regret. It's gone almost as soon as it's there, but it appeared.
Should I P&E it to hold on to it?
Oh, Olaf's not very good at hiding things.
Okay.
I will literally give you this one.
Okay. You feeling guilty for not doing more? For not being here, being a guardian? What?
Garrett, it's not the things that a soldier's asked to do that really bother him after a while. It's the things he wasn't asked to do. Now, as for the kin, I try to look out for them as best I can. Perhaps they came from harsher lives. Perhaps they know the fear that I remember as a kin. Whatever it is, they tend to appreciate a lighter touch. I do what I can.
You're speaking to a man who lived that. I would venture to say that you and I weren't so different. Maybe the stings came in different forms. The back of a hand, or, I don't know, a broadsword for you. We each took our licks, I'm sure. And I've said what I feel I've needed to say. And he'll approach the door, put his hand on the doorknob, turn it, and he will step through.
Meanwhile, Olaf has been left with some very interesting thoughts. It's well known that the Auspice of Ragabash was designed to question, and for Olaf, a lot of those questions are starting to gain some steam, because a lot of the time Olaf's been a pretty good soldier. Follows his orders, does what he's told. He can get pushy sometimes, but he knows his limits. Garrett's forcing him to ask himself questions he really did not want to ask. So when Garrett feels that he can leave, Olaf lets him leave. And he's there alone in the room with his thoughts. But there's a kid in a cub out there who he said he could come back when he was done.
Garrett's actually heading over to them now.
Yeah, he gives it a little bit of time, comes out of his cabin and sits down on the porch.
Maeve will waggle happily as Garrett makes his approach.
Howdy, Garrett.
Lucas?
Having a good night?
Could be better.
Aw.
Head tilt?
Me and Olaf had a lot to discuss.
Well, you were in there for some time, and I didn't hear anybody throw any furniture. Not that there is any furniture in that cabin, but I'm glad to hear nothing went awry.
That remains to be seen. Sometimes it's a grenade, sometimes it's a time bomb.
Maeve will hop up and wander over and plop alongside Garrett and start kind of worrying at his pant leg. It's not like biting or anything like that. It's more of an affectionate kind of grooming gesture.
I talked to Olaf about what you had told me last night. Just to let you know, he was able to figure out how I knew.
She flicks flat her ears.
He didn't seem too mad. A little more incredulous than anything. Probably more angry at me, so people don't like it when I know things. Sure you've been there too, Lucas.
Oh, whenever I figure something out, I just keep my mouth fucking shut. I know exactly where my opinions belong. Goes ahead and points at his red hat.
Yeah, you leave the opinion sharing to me.
Hey, just so you know, we went out again today. I went with Katori and a couple others. We were helping Cinna break down some display she'd put up about pollution. And this man who was a runner in the park stopped to help us. Well, we went for coffee with him, and Katori got a nose full of him. And I don't know if he's something else or if he's one of the spirals, but he's something that we're supposed to be avoiding. His name was Jason. And she'll give him a basic description, but just so you know, since that's new and it's important, especially if you're a guardian.
Jason.
He gave Cinna his number.
Katori was with you.
Katori, Cinna, Travis, and she thinks a second.
Travis as well.
Yes, Travis was with us.
And they let you invite some random stranger to coffee.
He was helping with the breakdown. Cinna said that if he kept helping, sure, she'd buy him a coffee. So we all went with her, and when we went our separate ways, I went with Katori and Travis went with Cinna because he seemed really paranoid. I think he was worried that she was going to call him.
I thank you for telling me.
Oh, he has her number now, too.
Wait, who has who number?
Jason has her number, has Cinna's number.
Well, if you see Cinna before I do, you tell her if she gets a call from that number, that she goes straight to her bow.
She perks up. That seems decidedly clever.
And for the love of God, don't tell him anything. You know what? Come with me. And he kind of urges them on to follow him back to Olaf's cabin.
Up and up, trot, trot, trot. Take a
Olaf
lantern.
is on the porch smoking what smells like an incredibly potent and noticeably unfiltered cigarette.
Those will kill you. Put it out and come back inside. Guardian stuff.
You and Jackie Glenn. Oh.
I thought we couldn't get diseases.
He puts it out on the bottom of his boot, but doesn't litter. In fact, he has a little Ziploc baggie. It has a few more of the butts of these cigarettes inside of it. He puts it in there, puts that back in his pocket, and comes back inside.
You have no idea how much Lucas admires you right now. Unless he's barred entry, Lucas will follow.
Yeah. You can come in.
Nice. I get to come inside like peoples.
Garrett's gonna reach into his jacket pocket and pull out a pack of smokes. Do you allow smoking in here, Olaf?
Garrett gets like this look. Like, really, bro? Really?
Maeve might be laughing. It's hard to do as a dog, but she's pretty good at it. It's kind of a huffing, sneezy noise. It's pretty silly.
Garrett has about as serious a look as you've ever seen, and he says, "You know I had to do that."
You know what? I do. We all have our jobs in life. And he pulls out another one of these terrible cigarettes and lights it. Yeah, it's fine. Let me get the ashtray. And the ashtray is placed on the highest of the book piles, which is actually about waist high.
Lucas, for his part, is going to go ahead and start to shuffle around the book pile for a spine or a label that he didn't quite get at last time he was in here, and that's supposed to be.
Garrett's serious face will crack into a smile as he pulls out a cigarette, lights it, and the whole shebang.
Olaf at least cracks a window so this doesn't become a hot box situation.
Maeve sighs relief when the window is open.
And Lucas actually does find a copy of the Hagakure in hardback if he's so interested.
Well, Lucas has never heard of this. But he'll definitely go ahead and take a read of the first few pages.
The beginning, because it's a translated text, is a foreword by the translator. A little beyond that, there's also a few pages of historical context. I'll get into that with you later, but that's like the very first few pages.
Skipping the translator's text, reading a little bit of the historical context, slip. Introduction is what he's most after.
What you start getting, because the historical context is part of the introduction, is the author's introduction, It's been a while since I've read that particular text, but I do believe, if memory serves, the author himself explains himself a little bit and the reasons behind why he's writing what he's writing. But what you end up encountering is a kind of late Tokugawa period treatise on what it means to be a samurai. Obviously, if he read enough of the historical context, he'll understand that this was filtered through multiple generations without what you would call full-scale war. And so it's,
Okay.
I mean, the rest of this is like my opinion, so it's not the direct, but you basically get the sense that this is what this guy thinks it means to be a samurai in his era.
Lucas knows a little bit about the feudal period of Japan and the various clan wars. So Lucas is just going to go ahead and pop himself right there and have himself a little bit of a read while y'all do with big boy business.
It's a real treat. Have a separate point in academics or something for it. But Olaf is now facing the guru.
Maeve, will you please explain to my fellow guardian here what you told me?
So, apparently coffee's the devil. We were helping Cinna break down some display about pollution or something like that today. Katori took me over to do that. Travis was there. And one of the guys who runs in the park stopped to help us. I get the impression that before I got there, Cinna had managed to get trapped under one of the displays. So he was helping out, and she thanked him, and he said, "Hey, you give me a coffee, I'll help you out with the rest of it." So he did, and then we all went and got something to drink, and we talked about stupid stuff, but the important thing is that Katori got a nose full of him, and he smelled like magic. He didn't say what kind, but for all we know, he's affiliated with the spirals that are in the city. But his name was Jason. She'll give a basic description. Really, really fit guy, almost like borderline obsessively. So this isn't a guy who just casually goes to the gym. This is a guy who's actually trying to get somewhere with it. His name was Jason. He gave Senna his number. She gave him hers before we left. Kotori didn't tell us until after he was gone.
Quick point of order, OOC. Did Max go ahead and tell you if that particular character used any power or ability after he left the scene?
He did not tell us.
Okay, we continue on.
All right.
Hey, sometimes the STs don't tell you shit, and that's
true.
their fault.
But yeah, his name was Jason, and they said there was another person named Jason that they knew was one of them, but this was a different person. This is another Jason. But they were worried enough that when we all left and Cinna went to take the truck back, Travis went with her, and Kotori and I came back here.
Define smells like magic.
Yeah, that's curious.
She shrugs. It's kind of like when you smelled that the other one was Garou. He focused on him, got a scent of him, and said that he smelled like magics. I don't think he could determine exactly what kind. Travis said something about mages. Katori said he didn't know.
Well, in the range of possibilities, I am aware that there are mages in the city. I have no idea how many, what their organizations are like, if there are any organizations even. I know next to nothing about them, just that some of these people are mages, some are not. I don't even know what they can do, to be honest.
I just figured that most crazy things, most monsters probably smell like magic. I don't know what he was, none of us did, but they told me to put him on the list of people to stay the hell away from. I just figured it was something I should tell you guys if you're patrolling, because he does run through the park regularly, from what I could understand.
The very least, it's good advice. Honestly, Maeve, when you were growing up, did anyone explain to you the concept of stranger danger?
Well, yeah. I didn't walk off in a dark alley with him. I was with 3 other people. I was only there because Katori told me I could go, and in fact told me that I could drop Lupus to go and help.
Olaf, what concerns me here is that both Katori and Travis were accompanying her. Stranger danger.
Stranger danger is not running off with strangers.
I didn't catch the last part of what you said, Will.
Just, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. This goes beyond stranger danger. I think Maeve probably would have stayed away from him if she was alone. I
would have.
And he glares at Maeve, I hope.
I would have.
This was this off of the Sept grounds?
She thinks about it, and I
Battery
probably
Park
need to
is
know.
off of Sept grounds.
Is it? Okay, then yes, it was off.
He literally says that in character.
What park?
Lucas goes ahead and says at Olaf's questioning, he simply says, Battery Park is off Sept grounds, southern tip of Manhattan.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, that's where he runs. My bad. I was confused out of character. I didn't know where we were.
As I said, there are a lot of things we don't know here. I would have to talk to the others, get a sense of it. Understand, Maeve, that there's more than just us and our enemies and the spirits lurking out there.
I figured it was worth mentioning, if only because the others got really uptight about it. Like I said, Travis got really upset. He thought that Cinna was going to call him when we all parted ways.
Now, I don't know a lot about mages, as I've explained. Next to nothing, just that they exist and they're something. Don't even know what. Someone felt it was worth mentioning to me that they were a thing. I know maybe a little more about the Fae. And, well, I'm going to put it this way. Vampires don't make their homes in get states for a reason.
I've got the leech knowledge.
Lucas goes ahead and stiffens up at the mention of vampires.
Can I perception empathy that or perception alertness that to catch that?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Boop, doo, 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 doo.
Uno.
Yeah, it's enough.
Oh, damn it.
Vampires, leeches. To Lucas, these are not just words. They are things. Real things. Real things that he fears.
Garrett notes that mentally.
For once, Maeve does not catch on.
Well, continue.
Now, avoiding other peoples that are other than typically very good policy, especially if you are a cub. In fact, it was Travis who once said to me, when weird shit starts happening, it's time to leave. I would probably qualify this as weird shit, but it seems that the party causing the weird shit left your presence.
She nods.
Here's my observation, Olaf. I told you I disagreed with putting out the howl there for everybody to hear.
Perks.
But it was put out there, so everybody knows that, to use your words, there should be some stranger danger involved. I really wish Katori would have done his mojo at the very first encounter.
Well, there were lots of people in the park, so...
Lots of people in the park aren't talking to a Fianna princess.
He wasn't talking to me. He was all about Senna.
The other princess.
The other princess, yeah.
Tell me, Mabe, you said, or did you say this person was already there by the time that you and the rest of the party had approached?
Well, I got there a little late. When he said I could go Hamid, I might have taken time to go get a shower. But when I got there, he was there.
Mm,
We're just walking up, I think.
and that's our blind spot. You see, I followed protocol when I did what I did. I held in the Umbra. Now I know kin talk, but not all of them have ready access to the Umbra. And it seems that perhaps, and this is just me guessing here, that even the most blatant of warnings are going to miss some ears. That's a problem. But we have another problem. Maybe not so much a problem in our case, given what I already did. The bigger a circle of secrets gets, the more gaps in the outer lining it receives. Now, this circle of ours can't get much bigger than it already is. There's going to be gaps. Now, I appreciate you bringing this up to me. You have done what you're supposed to do. It leads to another series of worries. Now, as I said, pretty much for everyone to hear, at least one of these individuals, whoever they are, knows how to mask their rage. It is apparently a thing capable of being done if you are of the mind to do it. That makes that person extremely dangerous. One of the easiest ways to identify us is the rage. People shy away. People clear out of buildings. I think you saw that for yourself once. Looks at Mabe for some sort of confirmation.
Oh, sorry. She bobs her head.
A person who can get their scent lost amongst who knows what, who perhaps only certain gifts can easily identify, and who can mask their rage, is a dangerous, dangerous person. Almost a perfect infiltrator. If you were to mix that with some basic, and I mean basic, methods of disguise, you could have the same Garo wearing a dozen faces.
And what puts me on especially high alert is that they contacted you before. And as I told you, you are a prime target for them.
She flicks flat her ears. Not an aggressive sign, just if anything, kind of taken aback / understanding but upset by it.
You hear a hum come from Lucas. Few assumptions we're making here, aren't we? Flips the page. Well, Reyes, if
Blink.
you'll let me explain.
By all means.
Go ahead.
Sarah, was it not? At the other copy
Not.
place? Alright. Sarah, no rage. Identified by points at Olaf, your nose, as Garu. Wonderful little gif you got there. Should use it more often. Should make it definitely protocol to sniff people that approach. Points over to Maeve. Her. Now, looks over to Maeve, who went ahead and Katori. Katori sniffed out Jason fellow, said magical. I'm going to assume he also didn't show off any signs of rage, right?
She kind of shrugs, and I mean, I didn't look for it, but I didn't see it.
You didn't see anybody, like, making undue detours away. Gotcha. Was there anything that this Jason character actually said or did or just even a slight glance that notified him as knowing about the nation?
She shakes her head.
Mm. And of
I
course,
don't think so.
And of course, Sarah wouldn't either. Shakes head. The assumption that we're currently making here is that this Jason character and the Sarah character are linked. We're not making that assumption right now, are we?
No, I am not immediately jumping to that conclusion.
Awesome. Just making sure I had everything straight in my own head, because I hate it when people make assumptions.
The
Ducks her
possibility,
head.
though, that's another story.
I'll definitely accept the possibility. Always prepare for the worst. Always hope for the best. Just making sure that we weren't running around with our heads cut off, jumping to conclusions, and making awful decisions.
I'm not calling for a blood hunt on this Jason, no.
All right. Satisfies me. Please, excuse me, dear eyes. Continue.
Nor am I. The possibilities with this one are endless, but at least in this case, it would be best to handle the matter quietly amongst the Guardians first.
Oh, and apparently Cinna exchanged contact information with this Jason character.
Bob.
Has anyone debriefed her in any way, shape, or form about what to do having this kind of information? And assumably, but possibly not, who knows, giving out some of her own personal information to this individual?
She gave him her current number. He had an old business card. Oh, that's another thing. He had one of her very old business cards. She said that she'd stopped using them a week or two after she came here. She since then has changed her phone number and has marked out the old number on her cards. He had one from before then.
new
And so
twist.
she scratched out the old number and gave him her current one.
Previous interaction and/or relationship between Cinna and Jason. Gotcha.
She didn't seem to remember him. She looked really confused that he had it because she actually made a bit of a fuss about it because she was really annoyed that he'd gotten the card that was so old and couldn't figure out where he'd managed to find it.
Cinna is a very popular personality nowadays, and business cards, well, they proliferate. In fact, there's a giant fucking business card business in New York City. Everybody has one. Sometimes
Well,
you just
how
give it
long-
out and not think about the face you're giving it to.
How long has Cinna been here, though? Like, with the Sept?
Let me think back. February, May, April, probably in the spring of this year, I'm thinking. A long time ago.
So, this is one of the cards that she hasn't been using since a week or two after she got here. So, it's a many months old card.
I believe that when the Storm Eater battle took place, that was the end of spring and beginning of summer. In the beginning of summer, we saw the introduction of Miss Harris. Yes, I believe that's so. Would have to double check.
So it's still been several months since she's been handing those ones out. Like I said, she kind of pitched a fit about it. He said originally that he grabbed one off a table, but she didn't put any out while she was doing her display.
Oh,
Well,
that's you're saying that these new business cards that were all placed around the exhibition were all the new ones.
Well, she didn't even place any out, is the thing, but she also hasn't used the old ones for a very, very long time. She's been putting out these new ones where she scratched out the old number.
Shake said, I don't know what to make of that one. Other than, obviously, at one time or another, they crossed paths. Nothing more, nothing less.
She shrugs. It just seemed weird, and I didn't think about it till just now.
Well, at least we know now. Looks at the Darius. Oh shit. I'll shut up now.
I mean, I'm not saying he's super evil, but it is kind of weird. And he was paying a lot of attention to her, too. So, I mean, I was teasing her about flirting with him. So,
Olaf looks at Garrett. Two high-value targets. One of them can't pop claws.
Ronin in the city.
Rolling around who knows where.
Word needs to get around that we just need to be vigilant.
Hmm.
so at the risk of making things worse a little bit about word getting around and all,
Mm-hmm.
I met Teeth of Titanium.
Oh,
Emmett met with him, too.
walks
Oh.
over to Maeve, gives her a comforting hug. Oh, Maeve, I'm so sorry.
He's scary as crap, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has a certain way about him. I met him once very, very briefly.
We started with him scaring the crap out of me. And then he called me a fox.
I once saw him stand on a picnic table and crush it. Just with his
yeah.
weight.
Hey, OOC, is Teeth of Titanium like known around the nation, or like I mean Garrett knows about like Mother Larissa and Morning Kill because of his association, but like
Is this a name that would have spread? I have no idea.
It's definitely within the sept. Let me ask you this: what is your Glasswalker lore or your
No.
Garu lore?
Garu Lores too.
I'd say roll it at a difficulty of 8.
Just raw lore.
Plus intelligence, of course.
Okay.
Whereas Olaf, that NPC was the one you used for one of his rites of accomplishment. I got a basic description of what their interaction would have been like.
Mm-hmm. What do you have for us, Will?
1.
Set a difficulty of 8, not 7.
Oh, it's a 0. So nothing.
You don't know him, or at least his particular stats, but you've been around the Sept long enough to know that he's an important name to the Sept.
Okay.
So yeah, I met him. He called me a fox, chased me around. But more importantly, Emmett stumbled across us while we were talking. And he asked Emmett about the howl. And, well, Emmett didn't really clarify that whole part where Callie told you to do it.
Garrett
And Keith
glares
sounded
at Olaf.
really mad about it and told Emmett to handle it. So you should probably talk to Callie.
Garrett glares at Olaf and a small smile starts to form, saying, "I told you so." He doesn't literally say that. That's what his smile says.
I had a rant last night about him throwing you under the bus. I figured I'd be a little better about it this time. But yeah, he didn't say anything. He didn't correct him. I wasn't going to say shit. I was laying on my back. But
Who did you rant to?
she points with her nose to both Garrett and Lucas.
Wave.
Note to the future. Litany's a thing. Keep your opinions in your head.
She snorts. What part of the litany says I can't have an opinion?
The part where you may have risked, and I wasn't there, so I wouldn't know. But those two are both high above you in station.
I mean, I thought it was you, Garrett. I know it was Lucas.
OOC, I don't recall you ranting about it to me. This is the first I've heard about Teeth of Titanium.
I could have sworn when we did the end of that scene with us all going wolf that she had a period there where she ranted about it.
This is the first Garrett's heard of Teeth of Titanium or that.
Oh, well, my bad.
You could have ranted off to Lucas, more than likely, if you want to say that. Or you could just say, "Oh, I thought I did," and you had like one of those brain fart moments.
Well, I'll assume it was just Lucas then. My bad. I'll correct that because I'm special. I remember ranting about it. I don't remember to who. I'll have to double check my scenes. But yeah, so she'll just point to Lucas because I'm special. But she'll huff, and I know I'm supposed to respect those higher in station, or at least respect their rank, but that doesn't mean that I have to agree with what they do. And that doesn't mean I shouldn't say something about it to the right people when they do something wrong.
Olaf's telling you to be careful.
I will.
All right. So, let's round this up for a second. He directly told Emmett to deal with it, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And what did Emmett say?
She'll take a kind of indrawn look about her. She's obviously trying to recall. Ears twitch a couple times. I'm pretty sure it was yes, Raya, but I don't really remember the details. He scared the crap out of me before they started talking. I was kind of out of it, but I was aware enough to be annoyed that he didn't say anything about Callie telling you to do it. But he told Emmett that he had to go and he had to take care of the problem.
Well then,
Something like that.
here's the deal. Emmett is Fastern, above me in station. He is also Wormful. I don't need to tell you how important that particular job is. I believe you have been taught better, yes?
I've been taught what it means, but
Very
Emmett,
important position. We'll leave it at that. And like you've never quite seen Olaf before like this. Garrett has. So here's what we're gonna do. Emmett was given a task by someone to whom he answered Raya, one higher in station, to go and take care of the problem. I am a lowly Cleath, not equal to him in rank, not equal to him in his job, and definitely nowhere near the league that Teeth of Titanium obviously operates in. So, this is how it's going to go. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to let Emmett do what someone higher in station told him to do. And however that shakes out is going to most likely be between me and him. Alright?
Horse shit.
she looks back her ears. This time in annoyance.
And now Garrett has Olaf's undivided attention.
Are you really gonna just roll over and accept that?
I have no idea what the man means to do. I have no idea how he plans to handle it, and frankly, this may very well be a test laid upon him by his elders. My job is to suss out the truth of things.
You know the truth of things. You're
About
sitting
what
here
I
talking
did?
about, yes, you're sitting here talking about yielding to those in higher station. You yielded to someone of higher station when the mistake was made. Don't let that shit roll downhill on you.
Firm nod.
I yielded, yes. But there's still another piece of truth that I have yet to see.
What is
You
that?
see, what I'm interested in is what Emmett, who as a Fostern and Wormful is my Raya does. I want to see how he handles it. I want to find out his truth. And I can't do that if I come charging up to him.
Garrett will smile. Touché.
So, on this topic, we're going to leave our Raya to his devices, and I'm going to find out the truth. Because I was born under a half moon, and this is what I do.
Maeve finally nods in acceptance now that she has a better understanding. She doesn't look peeved, doesn't look annoyed, doesn't look upset, just is back to looking passive.
Flips the page. Will you set up, well, your den in order to accept a visitor or an intruder?
Well, he actually does chuckle.
Ooh, nice. I don't think Lucas has ever heard Olaf chuckle.
We're all of the nation. We're all on the same side. I am one of the last people you're going to see do something to raise a hand against his brothers and sisters. Besides, I haven't seen what I need to see yet. There's no reason to raise hands to anybody.
And I just want to let you know, because I know your discretion. I know how you like to keep things to yourself, and you're really good at that. If you think I'm going to let you for one moment fall on the sword for you know who, if it's even a microcosm of a thought in your mind, I'm not going to let it happen.
Olaf doesn't have a verbal response to that. There's just prolonged eye contact.
Dear eyes, my stomach draws empty, and with my stomach drawing empty, I can only assume that you are both quite ravenous. You notice that Lucas is using the same kind of inflections that Olaf uses now. So, I say that all of this serious talk, we go ahead and close this particular meeting of the Log Cabin Book Club and see if Redbows doesn't actually have anything to eat.
The hour is late, but it's worth seeing.
Alright. Lucas goes ahead and stands
Maeve
up,
makes with the beggy face.
closes the book, puts the book back where he found it in the book pile, walks over to
Attaboy.
Maeve, scratches her behind the head, just behind the ears, just like she likes it, looks to the other two Ryas.
Yeah. He looks to Garrett. You have any reservations about that?
I'm as hungry as I've ever been.
Gape mouth doggy smile.
And you can
Rather
peony,
than
you can peony if you want for the double entendre there.
why not? Why not?
Do we even need to?
Well, he went ahead and said to do it, so I'm doing it. Because why not? Just why not?
I know all the things.
He knows all
I
the
also-
things.
I also know things, not quite as many.
Not quite as many as he who knows all.
No.
Wait, it's actually a -2. Ha ha. Neener.
Well, Olaf will know more than anyone because of the conversation they had in private, but yeah, number one, yeah, he could go for a bite to eat. Number two, he's out for blood about the SEP management. He's not impressed with SEP management at all. And Lucas and Maeve can suss out a lesser severe version of that.
Fair enough. Lucas is going to
She
go
gonna
ahead
get real.
Yeah, we. Lucas goes ahead and opens the door. And is very polite, very courteous to the other Ayas.
Maeve, look at me.
Blink.
What form are you wearing right now?
Lupus.
How do Lupus go and eat?
Aww.
We can do a takeaway. We can do takeaway. We got a few blankets outside.
That defeats the point of the lesson.
Sulk.
All right.
You've been in the woods. By now, I imagine you've got some sense of the rhythm of the place. You're hungry? Go out and catch dinner.
Sulky departure. Sulkiest sulky departure.
Mm.
And now
Well,
for those
then.
of us wearing the man shirt, let's go see what they've got.
Garrett's mouth is wide open. He is actually in shock.
Once she's made her point, she'll go ahead and trot off, by the way. She's not actually going to, like, sulk the whole way out. She just, oh, dramatic. Okay, fuck it, I'm going to go eat something.
All right then. Anybody else want to do anything with this scene?
Well, Garrett will finish things off. I told you all off, and he's got a big ass smile on his face. You're dangerous.
Yeah. I'll take that as a compliment.
In this case, yes.
One note before they leave, Olaf is going to close that window.
Damn it. All right then. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We go ahead and end this particular episode of the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and change the title a little bit. Let's edit incorrect. We go ahead and end this particular meeting of the Log Cabin Book Club. Come again next time when we will go ahead and look at Charles Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol.